from the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina. I need to take the ticker off up here. Let me change the ticker. It's going to take me a little bit to learn how to work this thing, but we're going to get there. Let me put that one on okay, here we go. So anyway, thanks for joining us tonight. Again, we here in North Carolina have very, very poor bandwidth. We got about 768K up at the most. So you're probably going to see my picture a little fuzzy tonight. Hopefully, since this system is all cloud-based, you're going to see Alan and all the other guys are going to be completely clear. But my video may get kind of blurry at times. If you're out there listening on WBCQ, we welcome you tonight. If you're listening on 7490, this is Amateur Radio Roundtable, and it's a show about ham radio. If you're out there, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email to tom@w5kub.com. And, hey, I forgot to run our intro. I'm going to run our intro right now, so here we go. Here we go. We're going to run the intro. I'm sorry. All I got to do is find it. All right, I got kicked off the chat room for some reason, probably because of the low bandwidth.
You want me to get off the computer?
No, it's okay. All right, so I saw a couple comments. A couple people kind of like a couple things they're seeing on the show tonight. But anyway, we're going to try this new system out. By the way, guys, is my audio coming through okay?
You're okay. You're a little boomy, echoey, but
okay.
It works.
Well, it sounded a little funny here, so I didn't know if something was going on or not. Okay, so let's jump around the room here real quick and just say hello to everybody, and let's see who we got first. We got Glen coming up first. How you doing, Glen?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good, man. What have you been up to?
Working and getting new toys. I showed this during the pre-show. This is a transceiver, or not, I'm sorry, a receiver. And I was pulling up the specs on it here. I'm getting lost, but let's see here. It does sideband, FM, AM. For the HF bands, it's got 22 commercial and ham bands pre-configured. And it's powered by an Arduino Nano and that what was that chip? 4735.
4735.
Yeah, and so that's basically a complete HF receiver that I was going to make a project of.
All right. Well, let us know. Keep us posted on your progress with that.
Yeah, should be fun.
We'll talk more about how you're going to use it. All right. Let's see who's next on the list. We got Dwayne out there now. Come on in, Dwayne, and say hello and tell us why Katie's hiding tonight.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, Katie was exposed to someone who was positive for COVID, and she is quarantined. So both of us can't be in the same room at the same time. And she has opted to bail out and watch me make a fool of myself. And so I'm here to do just that. Made a little trip last weekend, ham radio related, and we'll talk about that after Rich has his little time tonight. So good evening to everyone, and glad to be here.
All right, great. Great. And hope Katie is doing okay there, and she'll get over that
Well,
pretty soon.
she doesn't. She tested negative this afternoon, which is
Yep.
fortunate. But she's still concerned, and she's going to
Yep.
wait another few days, and hopefully she will test negative again. But that's the way it goes, and we hope that her vaccinations work like they're supposed to.
All right. Well, we wish her the best there. Hopefully she'll come out of this without the COVID there. Let's jump down. Alan, how you doing, Alan? Let's jump over to Alan real quick.
Alrighty. Oh, that's not Alan.
That's
There's
not. There's Alan right there.
how's everybody doing? So good to see everybody here. And yeah, hopefully I'm coming in clear. Got pretty good upload speed here. So well, good to see you. And Glen, I've got one of those radios also, but I picked up one that's in a little metal case. It's got a blue OLED display on it and all the buttons and everything on the front panel. Built-in speaker and battery, kind of a whole self-contained little thing. Haven't decided whether I like it or not. There are some firmware updates for it compared to the one that I'm running on it that I got. That looked like they make some improvements, but it looks pretty cool, And it's probably, like I said, it's the same guts as the radio that you have there.
Yeah, I mean, I got the speaker and the OLED with it. I was wondering where the firmware is, because they don't tell you where you can get the firmware.
No, well, there's actually a Facebook group for that radio. I think it's like the ATS 25 Facebook group or something like that, which is kind of what it goes by. But it's not like it's even worse than the Nano VNA in terms of trying to find the firmware for it. But
Yeah.
But it might be fun to play with. I just thought, it's one of those things I picked up. I figured I'd do a couple of videos on it at some point in the future, but I haven't really enough to do that yet.
Yeah, that's kind of why I got it, something to play with.
Okay. And I guess the other thing I'll mention too, if we have time after we hear about what's going on in the latest issue of the magazine and Dwayne's trip there. So Dwayne, you mentioned you picked up a Nano VNA and a tiny essay. One of the videos I thought I'd play and talk about is showing how to use the Nano VNA to take a look at how well matched your antenna is and how to watch the operation of a tuner using the Nano VNA. So might be a fun one to watch tonight given that. So anyway, that's what's going on here.
All right, great. All right, well, let's just jump right into it. And I think we're going to have a lot of material tonight to talk about. And I've got some things that I brought back to show tonight from the East Tennessee Hamfest over in Sevierville, Tennessee, where we were the keynote speaker. We had a balloon launch over there. We got a balloon in the air flying right now. I had a local ham friend, Pastor Jeff, come over, and I've been working with him. We built him an antenna yesterday, and I've been operating that on the front porch, portable. Lots going on here, and I've got pictures and videos and stuff. But let's just jump on down to let's go to Rich right now. And Rich, everybody should know you by now. You're a regular on the show. We've got Rich Mollison here, W2VU, the editor of CQ Magazine. And Rich, let's talk CQ next month, man. What's happening?
All righty. Good evening, everybody, and glad to be here as always. The October issue of CQ is, as usual, our emergency communication special, and we've got no less than 9 different articles on different aspects of emergency communications and ways hams help their communities and each other using amateur radio. But we start out the issue with an article called Ham Radio Hogwarts, and it's a report on the Youth on the Air camp in Ohio earlier this summer, and by 2 of the participants. So that's a really cool experience that they had, and it's a great thing that hopefully will be going on for a long time. We get into the MCOM special with an interview by our emergency communications editor in 8BHL with the new chairman of the new ARRL Committee on Emergency Communications and Field Services. It's a new standing committee of the league. It's only the 3rd standing committee of the board, so they're giving emergency communications and field services much higher profile and priority than in the past, and it's about time that happened. So Stan has a very in-depth interview with Bud Hippisley, W2RU, who's the Roanoke Division Director and Chairman of this new committee. We've got some intro information on MCOM for those who are new to ham radio in our learning curve column. We have a first-person report from New Orleans right after Hurricane Ida, just before it came up here to New Jersey, from KB5AVY, Roberto Dabdub, who has written before. He wrote about situation in New Orleans after Katrina. So we seem to hear from him whenever there's a disaster. I don't know. But it was a good look at the capabilities, again, of amateur radio. W9JU, Scott Roosh, has a piece on Saturn. That's the Salvation Army Team Emergency Radio Network, and the Patriot North 2021 exercise. This is an exercise that is put on by the Department of Defense and involves a whole bunch of governmental and non-governmental agencies in doing a simulated disaster drill. And Scott writes this time about some communication failures that resulted in them being very late to the planning process. And it ended up being a good test of their ability to plan on the run and to adapt to circumstances, which is frankly what you're much more likely to run into in a real emergency or disaster than anything that is well planned in advance. AA2AV up in Canandaigua, New York, I love that name, has a piece for us on ham radio in the year of COVID. And it's about how his radio club used its 2-meter net, expanding it every day to check in on members, non-members, everybody who's interested in checking in, to just see how everybody's doing, make sure people didn't need anything, particularly during the lockdowns, and but it's continuing even now, and it's helped strengthen the club, which is an interesting thing. We've got a very interesting article about decoding NOAA weather satellites. Now, you might not automatically think this is an MCOM issue, but imagine that you're in an emergency operating center someplace with no internet, and the people there need to see what's happening on weather radar and coming down from the satellites. This is a great piece on being able to set up your own weather satellite receiving station and how to decode them and display the graphs of what they're seeing without having to have an internet connection. Our Magic in the Sky columnist, Jeff Reinhardt, AA6JR, offers the 10 Commandments of MCOM, and we even got some nice graphics to go with it. So you can't see it, but Moses has a handheld in his hand there. So credit our art department for that one. Gordon West, WB6NOA, in his short circuits column, writes about DFing emergency beacons, personal locator beacons, and EPIRBs, emergency position indicating radio beacons. Once you get in, they function by a satellite, but only to a close-in area. Once you get close in, you have to find them with direction finding techniques on 121 megahertz, and this is all about doing that. And that covers most of our MCOM articles. A few others, if that's not your thing. Wayne Overbeck, N6ND, follows up our September article on the new RF exposure regulations from the FCC with a program that you can download to do your own analysis. He's come to the conclusion that it's easier to do a routine evaluation using a program like his or a couple of others out there than to try to figure out if you're exempt from doing it. He says,
I agree with that.
It's easier. So he's got a very interesting piece on that. And we've got article on automatic antenna relay for lightning protection, basically to automatically disconnect you and ground your antennas when you shut off your radios. And as always, in October, we have our CQ Worldwide DX Contest all-time records from K6 SSS, Fred Capicella. And of course, the single sideband weekend of the CQ Worldwide DX Contest is coming up at the end of October, the last weekend, and the CW weekend will be at the last weekend in November. Some of our other columns this month, in addition to the ones as part of the MCOM special, Math's Notes. Erwin writes about simple homebrew test equipment revisited. He's got a low resistance ohmmeter circuit that you can build. He's even got a faceplate for it that you can make on your own. For our shortwave listeners out there, our listening post column features the return to the air of Radio Onda Corta, Venezuela. That's shortwave Venezuela if you don't speak Spanish at all, even if you can pronounce it. Joe Eisenberg, K0NEB, in his kit building column, writes about the benefits of group kit building. And speaking of kits, Scott Rout, K8SMA, in our QRP column, has a look at the 4-state QRP group's Bayou Jumper radio kit, which is, he describes the QRP spy radio. It is based on the, why am I blanking on the name of it? The Paraset radio from World War II that we've had articles about in the past. And somebody earlier was mentioning VNA. Our Analog Adventures editor, KL7AJ, writes about anti-resonance or more fun with your VNA. So we have a guest antennas editor this month from Bolivia, CP6CL, who is taking a new look at the Wyndham antenna and where to feed it in order to get better resonance on multiple bands. Our medium and low frequency editor, KB5NJD, reports on a very late season operation to North Dakota and Wyoming. Hello, Dwayne. By W0SD, and got some really good stuff there. Our awards editor, KI4KWR, starts a series on the future of awards in amateur radio. And in our DX column, we take a visit to Scotland and the GMDX group, which is the main DX organization in Scotland. And finally, in propagation, NW7US reports on huge waves in the sun that have been discovered by a NASA satellite and all the observations it's making there, as well as, of course, the propagation to expect on the HF and VHF bands in October. We're into equinoctial propagation right now, and that should keep things rather uniform around much of the world right now. So that's the basics of what we've got coming up in this issue of CQ for October. Even though it's fall, our Summer Madness special is still going on. So if you go to our webpage and sign up for a subscription, you'll get one extra issue for each year that you sign up for. So instead of 12, 24, or 36 months, your subscription would be for 13, 26, or 39 months. So just check that out at www.cq-amateur-radio.com. And that's what we've got coming up.
All right. Well, I tell you, it sounds like this month's magazine is packed with a lot of things that I'm really interested in. I really like the idea of the homebrew test equipment because a lot of that stuff is so simple to make and it's so functional, man. You really need it. Also, the part about disconnecting the antenna for lightning, that's something I'll read about. I've implemented that on one of my antennas. You know, I have a 1.5 kilowatt, high dollar tuner, auto tuner out at the base of a extended double zip antenna. And when that antenna when everything's turned off in the shack, that antenna tuner is still hooked to that antenna. And I would not want that thing to get hit by lightning and destroy it. So a lot of neat things to talk about here and read about this coming month. We really appreciate it, Rich.
My pleasure, and hope you all enjoy it. And we've got some great stuff coming up in November too. We're just wrapping that issue up now.
All right. We're going to move right along here while things are moving pretty smoothly. We're going to move on. And Dwayne, did you have something you wanted to talk about after Rich there?
Got to get the unmute button there before I can start talking. Yeah, I was muted and I was trying to find the mouse to unmute. One of our club members is putting up a remote station, and we went back to his home in Rochester, Minnesota, to Rochester to get some of his gear, and so that involved an 11-hour trip one way, pulling a trailer. And when we got there, we loaded on 70 feet of tower and the largest coax I know of any ham that ever existed. This stuff is 3.5 inches in diameter. It is just massive, 480 pounds worth of coax to load onto the trailer. That went on next. And then 2 more rolls of the second largest coax I know of anyone having. Just amazingly large hardline stuff. It's impressive. He's going to do a 54-foot long, 2-meter horizontal antenna at 95 feet. So we had our work cut out for us.
Can't imagine how much the connectors cost for that coax.
Well, he says the connectors are over $1,000 each. So, that's just insane. But if you go to any populace anywhere that has a long-standing history of close-knit hams, you're going to find that they have breakfast. And Saturday morning, we went to breakfast with hams that I'd never met in my life. And they heard about what we were doing in our new club. And these guys stepped up and donated gear to a club that they may never attend. And to me, that tells me that there is faith in the hobby and they want to make it continue. So they gave the club, we got out of that freestanding tower, a couple of antennas, and some more of that large coax. Fortunately, the large coax that was donated by Fant, and I forget call signs, it had the ends on both ends of it. So we'll be making a trip back out to Minnesota to get more gear. But it was a prosperous weekend for the club at least. I was just amazed at these hams that had heard of a new club and will probably never visit it, just donating gear to us. So, that's a lot of faith in the hobby, I think. So that's where we stand with our new club. We got more gear and more stuff.
All right. Well, hey, that sounds great, man. And I've seen a hardline or coax like that, what you're talking about, and I don't know, man. It'd be tough for me to bring that into my shack, probably. What are you going to do? You going to drill a hole through the wall, or are you going to bring it through the window? What are you going to do?
Well, we're putting it out in the middle of nowhere because it's a VHF station and a lot of good preamp on the system. So, we got to be in a quiet area. So the closest house to this site is about a mile away. So we think it's going to be pretty quiet. And it's an old barn. We're building the station in the old barn. Mm-hmm. We're just going to bore a hole inside the wall at ceiling height, bring it in, and suspend this stuff under the rafter as we come across the room to get into the little room that we're calling the shack. So, yeah, it's got connectors to hang it every 5 feet, and I got to come up with a way to mount that to Rome 45. Weighs 400, like I said, about 480 pounds. And so We have opted to hire a crane instead of trying to do this with a gin pole.
Yeah, that would not be really easy to pull up with a gin pole. That
Nope.
would be tough.
And while I was out there, I visited a ham that has probably one of the better 6-meter EME arrays. Got 4 9-element beams on this massive array, and Tim had quite the station there, and I had to walk around with a rag and wipe up my drool because I was drooling all over the floor when I was looking at this stuff.
All right. Well, keep us posted on your progress and putting that stuff up, boy. You're gonna need some help.
Yeah, we got a crane hired, but we're going to dig holes and pour concrete Friday. So that's our plan for Friday morning and afternoon. And of course, concrete needs to step for at least 2 weeks before you stack tower. So that'll give us time to come up with a plan on how we're going to hang all this stuff in 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, very good. All right. All right. Well, hey, the show got packed with a lot of stuff tonight. I don't have a specific agenda here, but we'll just keep going around the room here until we pick everything up here. Alan, do you have something you want to talk about tonight?
Yeah, I know that you mentioned you wanted to talk about your location there and what you've got set up. You want to do that first, or if not, we could talk a little bit about my little nano VNA video that kind of fits into what Dwayne's going to be using his for. So.
All right. Well, I'll just mention very briefly here what we're doing tonight and why we're doing it, and then we'll jump into your segment, and then I've got a lot of other stuff to show tonight. So tonight, Kathy and I are in North Carolina. We're at our home in North Carolina, and we're over here we came over for a hamfest in Sevierville. We came over to a great hamfest there, East Tennessee hamfest, which is a combination of the Morristown hamfest and the Sevier County hamfest. And it was a pretty nice hamfest. This was their first year. So we were there Saturday. I was a keynote speaker. We talked about ham radio and ballooning, and we launched a Pico balloon from there. And then we just came on over here. It took us about 7 hours, I guess, from Memphis to Sevierville. And then we were so close to our home here in North Carolina, we just came on over here. We're only 2 hours away. I'm going to try to share a screen here real quick, and let's see if I can make this work. I don't know if I can or not, but you guys can help me here to determine if it's working. So okay. I'm going to try to do a share screen, and here we go. Okay, so are you guys seeing a video there? I mean, a picture of me?
Not yet. We're still
not yet. Not yet. Okay, you're not, because I've got to click another button. That came up as a camera shot, so I've got to click another button, I think. Let's see. Okay, here it is. This should bring it into the show right here. There we go.
We got it.
There you go. Okay. Hey, just quickly talk about my. I brought the 7300 over here for a little portable operation, and let me see if I can just run this little video. My friend, the pastor over here, Jeff, KM4 QMC, is a friend of mine, and I've been helping him build some antennas. One of his antennas broke, and he came over and we sit on the front porch. So here's a little quick video of how well the little portable antenna works. So let me see if I can hit play here and make this thing work. Here we go. Let's see if I can make it work here. Here we go. This is I'm talking to V31XX in Belize. Here we go. So, can you guys hear me right now, Alan?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
I
okay.
can hear the audio from the video, but very, very lowly, almost.
Okay. If you guys will look right to the left of my nose, you'll see a vertical piece of wire out there toward the tree. That is the antenna I'm using. It's about an 80-foot piece of lamp cord that I pulled apart and put it end to end. So we had about 80 feet. I shot that over a tree limb. And I'm using a little auto tuner, an auto tuner that will tune any band and just about any frequency there just by hitting it with a little RF. So that antenna just works great. I laid down 3 radios on the ground under it. Let me see if I got some pictures here real quick. I'll just grab those real quick. Let's see. I'm getting here. There's where we are today. That's the house over in North Carolina. And there's our view from the front porch. And this morning we had a lot of turkeys out in the yard, wild turkeys. And yesterday we had a lot of deer out in the yard. So we've got plenty of wild game here that's surrounding us.
As long as they don't like wire, you're okay.
Yeah, what was that?
As long as they don't like to eat wire, you're in good shape.
Yeah. Here's some of you guys know him from previous shows. This is Jeff, KM4QMC, and he's sitting there with the 7300. I've got it out on the front porch there and enjoying it. And I always bring him some hats over. I collect so many hats that Kathy makes me get rid of all my hats. So I brought him a few hats over, and he really likes the hats there. I'm going to start up a ball team called the Yezus or something here one day, probably. So there he is holding this is a 40-meter dipole he wanted to build, and really we had nothing here when he called me. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I was able to scrap up a piece of PVC pipe, and we just made us an insulator in the center. And we found some Romex, and we pulled the 2 pieces of number 12 wire out of that Romex, and I had brought over about 60 feet of RG58, just that I normally use on my auto tuner there. So I gave that to him, and he's going to put that up over at his house here in the next day or two. He was real happy to get that, and there we are out in the garage there. I didn't bring my soldering gun, so it was a little challenge to solder that number 12 wire with a soldering iron. But we were, if you stick with it long enough, you can get enough heat on it. You can do it. So that's kind of how we prepared it. We just no baling. We just stripped the coax back like that and connected it to the 2 legs, and that is pretty much how we got the antenna together there. There's the Romex on the floor there. All right, let me see if I can stop sharing here, and let's see. I guess I'm back again. I don't know this new system very much, and I'm learning it. So that's kind of what we did there. Let's see. I got one more thing I'll just jump into real quick. Let me do a share again. Let me pull up the. Let me pull up the pictures from the hamfest. I've got just a few there, so I'm going to pull them up real quick, and we'll talk about that, and then we'll go over to Alan here. So let's see. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to try to do a screen share here, and here. Okay, you guys should be seeing mine here from Gold Medal Ideas. You guys seen it? No?
Not
You
yet.
haven't seen it? Not yet, because I got to click another button. I'm so sorry. Here we go. Now you're going to see him.
Now I got it.
Now you're seeing him. Okay, and let me highlight that. That'll make it full screen. There we go. I'm learning. Here we go. So there's Ron. You guys know Ron from Gold Medal Ideas. He always donates some prizes for our webcast, and there he is there at the East Tennessee Hamfest. Let's see what we got here. This will be a quick video walkthrough. I'll try to cycle through it pretty fast, but you can see they had some pretty nice facilities for the Hamfest there. This was at the Sevier County Fairgrounds. Thank you. So there's some very, nice and clean areas there, and we had a number of vendors set up. This is outside. We're going to go out into the flea market area, and I'm going to do just a quick walkthrough down some of the tailgaters. The first you can see is wide open out there. Some people were wearing masks, but I think most people were not. It's pretty well open there, and we didn't have a lot of crowds together. Let me see if I can just fast forward this a little bit. So just going down one of the flea market aisles there, you can see people brought in trailers and tent tops and everything. Enjoying the food. I did buy one thing here. I did buy 3,000 feet of like parachute cord from a guy, and I plan on using that to hold some antennas up.
3,000 feet ought to last you a lifetime.
Well, it ought to last a long time, but some of my antennas are up over 100 feet in those trees, so it takes, on each end, it takes about 200 foot to get up and down, So I could use 400 feet pretty easy on a single antenna. You can see it was a nice sunny day. The sky is just really clear. The wind wasn't too bad. We do a balloon launch here in a few minutes. The wind wasn't really bad until we started launching. It kind of picked up.
But you can see that site reminds me of the Sussex County Hamfest here in New Jersey, which is one of the largest ones in New Jersey. It's very much like that, real clean, open, paved areas like that, and the building that looks really nice. Yeah.
So let's see. I'm just going to kind of fast forward a little bit more. Show you just a couple of things here that you can see that I saw as I walked around. They had a couple of buildings that they were actually in. We're going to end up here in another building in just a second. But the weather was perfect. The temperature was perfect. It was just it turned out to be a great Hamfest event and weather event, actually. If you need a rotor, there's a rotor. Nice little stream flowing back there. I think that's the Little Pigeon River, if I'm not mistaken. Here we are inside one of the other buildings. You can see very spread out. There was KM4 MPF again. We saw him in Huntsville. He has a big operation and always brings a lot of stuff. All right, let's see what else I had from there. Let's see. Here we are inside the. I gave the a talk on Pico balloons, and we actually had a pretty good crowd. The room was just about filled up, and a lot of interest, a lot of questions asked. And after the presentation, we prepared a balloon for launch. We just launched a simple 36-inch balloon with helium, with a party helium gas, and we knew that it wasn't going to go high. We thought it was going to fly about 22,000 feet, but the party helium was so impure that our best altitude is about 18,500 feet. Is what we're flying. It should show back up tomorrow. Right now, the balloon is up over Hudson Bay, up in Canada, and it should turn around and come back down and be in range of APRS receivers off the coast of Maine tomorrow. So we're going to start watching for it tomorrow. And then it'll start making its trip across the ocean, and we'll lose it again for about 3 or 4 days, and then we'll pick it up again when it gets near Africa. Here's the scales. Hey, the payload was the payload actually was 16.5 grams. I'm sorry, 13.5 grams. We wanted about 6 grams of lift, so we put 19.8 grams of lift in the balloon. And of course, once you hook the tracker on there, we ended up with about 6.2 grams of lift, which was just about what we wanted to fly that balloon with. There it is, kind of half or inflated and ready to go. That particular balloon, we have to do a heat seal to seal it. So I've got a little iron there that we're ironing it and heat sealing it there using parchment paper. A few people around looking at it. The kids were real interested in what we were doing. There it is. I'm holding it up and making sure it'll float with the tracker, and of course it would. Hey, this is the drive from Sevierville down to our home here in North Carolina. So you can see it's a nice drive right there. And let's see, here's the launch right here. It's about a 30-second. I'll show you the launch. Here we go. We were getting some wind there, and I was a little concerned about the wind. Here we go. So we had a pretty good takeoff. It looked good, and it rose pretty fast. And by the time, well, let's see, that was launched on Saturday, and then I think yesterday it already cleared the border, Maine and Canada. So we're moving along. Hopefully it'll stay up. We'll see what happens. Let me go back to here. All right. So that's kind of like some of the update on what went on with us this weekend. Let's go over to you, Alan. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take just a quick break. It's 43 after. We'll be right back in about 1 minute. And guys, we can't talk during this, so stand by. Okay.
Contests remotely or from the comfort of your home. ICOM has the perfect base station ready for action. The IC9700, the IC7610, and the IC7300 transceivers are top of the line and are the first choice for contesters across the globe. Robust base stations like these cut through pileups, letting you work the bands and record those contacts. Stay connected. Keep your competitive contesting edge with ICOM. Heard it, worked it, logged it. Create your own band openings with the 9700. This transceiver brings direct sampling to the UHF-VHF weak signal world. It's loaded with innovative features that are sure to keep you busy. It has faster processors, higher input gain, higher display resolution, and a cleaner signal. Check out the large touchscreen, the Spectrum Scope waterfall, smooth satellite operation with 99 channels, and it has full duplex operation in satellite mode. The IC7610 is the SDR that every ham wants. This is a high-performance SDR, and it can pick out the faintest signals even in the presence of stronger adjacent signals. The 7610 is a direct sampling, software-defined radio that will change the world's definition of an SDR transceiver. It has RF direct sampling and independent dual receivers. The IC7300 changed the way entry-level HF is designed. High-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design will far exceed your expectations. It has RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, a large touchscreen, and real-time spectrum scope. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios.
LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art antenna tuners for every amateur need, from QRP to QRO, fixed station, portable and remote, matching your radio to your antenna using our lightning-fast proprietary tuning algorithms. LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative, quality products to the amateur market. Our focus is on anticipating and meeting our customers' needs and providing them with world-class support as they install and use our products. All LDG products carry a full 2-year warranty that is fully transferable when you sell it, with no paperwork required. Support is only a phone call or email away. We're always here to help you. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
Okay, and we are back, and I think things are running fairly smooth, even though we don't really know, all the ins and outs of the system here tonight. It's I think it's working pretty good here. Be interesting. I'd like to get some feedback from our viewers on how they think the quality is, the transition switching is, how the audio is. Give us some feedback, guys, and let us know how this temporary system that we're going to use just randomly when we need to. Let us know how it's working here.
Yeah, the only
Also,
comment I think I'd have, Tom, is that the videos that you were playing when you were showing, the hamfest and things like that, those videos were a little choppy, but the commercial you went through was actually quite smooth. So
okay, all right. Yeah, I've noticed that in some aspects, and that's what we got to figure out, how to make that better.
That could just be a bandwidth issue on your side, like you said.
Yeah, and it probably is. Why don't you get somebody there? You need to invent some kind of better internet connection for us here. I mean, the satellites they're putting up, that's going to cost too much money for a vacation home. I think they're going to be about $100 a month, aren't they? What do you call it, Starlink or something?
Starlink, yeah, I'm not sure what they are.
Yeah. Well, we need something better, but in the mountains you can't get it. You're stuck with what you can get, man. And we're so happy to have 5 megs down and 700K up, and that works pretty good. And typically we don't need to do a show from here, but it gets.
I'm pretty impressed with this app. I think it's working great. And like I said, I think for Dwayne, Glen, and I, at least from what I can see, it looks like the resolution that we get from each of us is based on our bandwidth and not yours.
Yeah.
You're not. It's all done in the cloud. You're not rebroadcasting us.
Yeah, and the fact that we're cloud-based and you guys are cloud-based, I think that means, and I talked to the developers on this, and they thought the video came to me and then went back out. I don't think that's right. I think with it being cloud-based, you guys' internet, you guys' video is being distributed directly to the viewers. It's not coming to me, and then I'm not rebroadcasting it.
I did notice that if you mute yourself, occasionally the damn thing will just automatically unmute you, and you have to kind of watch that. Yeah,
really?
I've been muted. Yeah. So I think what it's doing is it hears noises in the chat, and finally it says, "Wait, you may be warm," and it's unmuting me.
Well, we will. We'll look at all that and go back and kind of look this thing over after the show and see how it worked. I'm pretty pleased so far. We're about an hour into the show, and I'm pretty pleased that we got this far. I didn't think we were even going to have a show tonight. I thought the internet bandwidth was going to cause us a major issue. Well, Alan, let's talk. Let's go ahead and pick it up, man, and
all right,
and go for it.
All right, sounds great. So I guess in the pre-show, Dwayne mentioned that he's picking up a Nano VNA and a Tiny SA. I don't have the latter, but I do have a couple of the Nano VNAs. And probably one of the more popular uses, at least for us as hams, is to use it to do some antenna tuning and that type of. So I did a video a little over a year ago that is entitled "How to Use a VNA to Sweep or Measure an Antenna System's SWR and to Optimize its Tuning," and that video has been viewed over 105,000 times. So I guess it's been pretty popular. And I thought it's only 6 minutes long. We can play it here and then chat about it afterwards. Kind of shows a pretty nice use case for using the Nano VNA compared to maybe using an antenna analyzer. In some cases, it's still doing the same job, but I thought it actually worked pretty well. So let me give a shot here of sharing. Say I do a share system audio and pick what window I want to share, and I think it'll be this one. And let's see if you can see that. Do I have to do anything else?
Well, let's think about this. Let's see. All right, did you share?
I want to say share system audio, pick a window, and this is the window I want to share, and I click on share, and now it says I'm sharing this window.
Okay. All right, it's there. It's there. Now I have to bring it on. So here it is.
Alrighty, so I'm going to hit play, and we'll see how it goes. Only 6 minutes long, and then we'll chat about it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
With optimizing its tuning. And to measure an antenna, you can use the reflection coefficient or the SWR or the Smith chart. I'm going to have to use all three. You can see that the yellow trace is already set up to be the log mag of the reflection coefficient, so we'll leave that. The green trace is already a Smith chart, so we'll leave that one alone. So we'll reconfigure the blue trace to be SWR and then get rid of the purple trace. We bring up the menu, go to display, go to trace, and let's first just get rid of purple trace by touching on it again to get rid of it. And then we'll select trace number 1. The inverse text tells us we're selected. We'll go back and then tell it to be on channel 0, which is the reflection channel, or the S11 channel. And now we just have to go back in one more time to the format and hit SWR. Next, let's set up the frequency range we want to test. So bring our menu back up and go back again, and go to stimulus. In our case, I want to measure the 40-meter amateur radio band from 7 megahertz to 7.3. So I touch on the start frequency, and I dial in 7. And then we'll go back stimulus range that we want to test. The next thing we want to do is run the calibration, because the default calibration is going to have 2 cores of granularity to measure over this limited frequency range that we have. So we go bring the menu back up, go back and hit cal, and go to reset the existing calibration. We can see that those calibration indicators have gone away over here. And then we hit calibrate. And since we're only doing the reflection here, we only have to do open on the port and touching open. And next we put a short on the port and touch short. And then we replace the short with a 50 ohm load on the port and touch load. Once we've done all 3 standards, we can hit done, and then choose to save it to a memory location. I'm going to choose just to save it to location. So now we hook up the antenna. With the antenna hooked up, we can see our SWR plot over the 40-meter band. We can see the log magnitude of the reflection coefficient, and we can see the Smith chart. And we can use the jog wheel to move our cursor or marker to make measurements at various frequencies across the range. Or we even have some marker functions to search for a min or a max. So for example, if I touch on marker number 1, that activates trace number 1, and I can go into the marker function and do a search and search for a minimum, and that will put the marker right at the minimum. And I can see that's at 7.216 megahertz. Now, of course, that's all we need to do if all we want to do is to sweep the antenna. But if we want to retune it, for example, we can leave these displays up and actually watch the reaction as we adjust the tuning of the antenna. So let's say, for example, I want to retune this antenna closer to the middle of the CW portion instead of the front portion of this antenna. We can actually just watch the reaction on the VNA as I tune the controls on my antenna tuner. And this is where I find it handy to have the Smith chart shown on the VNA, because you can actually see how the controls on the antenna tuner are going to twist and roll the trace on the Smith chart, and it gives you a little bit better intuitive feel about which way to tune the various controls. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is move my marker down to, somewhere in the CW portion of the band, maybe around 7.07, 7.06, 7.05, something in the neighborhood. So to give me an idea, that's the point that I want to now try to optimize with the tuner. All right, we'll start by moving some of the dials around here. Let's take a look at how the various curves move around. You can see as I turn my inductor up, I can see the Smith chart's kind of turning around in this direction. Okay, and the resonant point is coming down in frequency. So that's kind of going the right way. Okay. And we can actually see I'm bringing my marker on the Smith chart closer and closer to the center of the Smith chart. So I'm getting kind of close, but it's still kind of missing the mark a little bit. So we're probably going to optimize the capacitor here as well. So if we tweak on that a little bit, I can see I'm deepening the null there on the reflection coefficient. I'm getting pretty close. You can see with just a little more fine tuning on the controls of the tuner, I've got myself pretty darn good at my desired point right there. SWR is about 1.02, sitting right at the center of the Smith chart. Reflection coefficient's down around minus 30 something dB. So we successfully retuned this antenna from the phone portion of the band down to the CW. Yeah, so give it a try yourself. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. We'll be planning on doing a couple of more nano VNA videos here in the future. Let me know what you'd like to see. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so.
Well, there we go.
All right. The audio, from time to time, it sounded like it started compressing a whole lot.
Okay.
I think there are some adjustments that we can do on your end or on the presenter's end.
Yeah.
As far as audio, if you click on your little audio button,
Yeah.
you may have some options for auto level adjust and a couple other things. I don't know.
Yeah, the only ones I have, since I don't have the Pro subscription package, I have echo cancellation, which is turned on, stereo audio, which is turned off, and auto adjust mic volume, which is turned on. Those are the only options I have.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the same settings I've got.
Now, the thing I didn't do, I didn't mute my microphone while the computer audio was playing. So I don't know if we were getting some cancellation from that, but that's something to experiment with another time.
yeah, maybe. And Charlie here says maybe echo cancellation.
Yeah. Okay.
Could be. Don't know. Well, we're learning. Tonight is our first time to use this. Okay. Well, great, man. Hey, I still got the what is it? The VNA, just like that one. And oh man, I gotta look at your video again. I'm having trouble with it. There's too much to remember.
Yeah.
You click on too many things there for my mind, man. I mean,
yeah, it's definitely a little more work than using like a Rig Expert or something like that,
Yeah.
especially because of the calibration involved. For a lot of what we do, you could probably get away with just using kind of a default calibration over the HF band and do that once and just leave that. But if you're just looking at like the tuning of an antenna, that would probably work fine. If you're trying to get the actual complex impedance so you can design a matching network, for something, then it's going to be more important for you to actually run the calibration over the frequency range of interest. But yeah, so once you've got that done, the rest of it, sometimes people get confused by having all these traces all overlaid on top of each other, because it can be confusing to look at that as opposed to just one trace, or one graph to look at.
I need to turn off a few of those levels or layers so I can see it more clearly,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Charlie's asking in the chat room, which software on the PC would I suggest for the VNA? Unfortunately, I've only played with one or two of them. The Nano VNA, the H4, the one that's shown in that video, the one that I used with that, and it's the only one I used, so I can't really make a recommendation one way or the other, was the Nano VNA Saver. And then I also have one of the V2 Plus 4s, and that one uses a different package, whose name escapes me right now, but I haven't really used it to PC, because to me, one of the value of the thing is to not be tethered to a PC to use it. So I haven't really played with that on the PC other than to update firmware on it. So unfortunately, I can't give you any better advice than that.
All right. You know, guys, it is 10 o'clock on the East Coast. This is a little unusual for me because normally we're on Central Time. So it's starting to get late here for me and Alan. I know what Alan goes through now, man. It's 10 o'clock, you know. Woo. I'm starting to feel it here. I think it's jet lag, car lag. Man. Oh, man. Okay. Well, hey, man, thanks so much for showing us that. And I'm going to pull my VNA out again when I get home and play with it. I'm going to pull your video up. At least on your video, I can watch it and stop it and watch it, stop it. Because if I don't stop it, man, you're about 3 miles down the road from where I am, you know.
Well,
and,
yeah, I mean, there's so many videos that are out there, especially electronics videos, where the guys just ramble, and you almost have to fast forward to get to the meat of the stuff. And I try to make sure that I keep the information density up there. So if you got to stop it and pause it, that's fine.
Well, they're really really clear the way you presented. You know, Alan, I won a radio at Huntsville. It's the FTM 300D. It's got APRS and all the stuff in it. It's got more computer in it, of course, than they took to the moon back, in the 60s. So, and it's a challenge for me. I'm not a software guy. Yeah, your phone too. But so I pull up the videos for guys that kind of telling me how to set something up. And the thing I hate the most, and I'm starting to realize this, and I've got to start making sure I don't do this, but they'll say something like, okay, if you want to make APRS, click right here. But, and then he says something like, well, I've got 4 or 5 APRS radios, and I did this, and I went to the grocery store, and I did this, and I did that. And, oh, by the way, you don't want to click on what I showed you back a few minutes ago. And oh, man, he goes on for like 20 minutes before he gets to the next step. And I really lose interest in the videos.
Yeah, so I try to avoid doing that kind of a thing. So hopefully, like I said, the information is dense. On my channel, there is a playlist for the Nano VNA, so you can pick, like the introductory video about what is a VNA, or pick the one that talks just about calibration, or pick the one like this one here that talks about antenna tuning. And I've got 6 or 7 or more videos that kind of dig into one particular topic and one particular application for the unit. So hopefully that'll help you out.
Okay, well, great. Glenn, did you want to talk more about your radio there, your receiver?
No, not really. Alan sent me a link, which is basically the same radio in a box. Apparently it comes with no instructions and no firmware. You've got to, it's preloaded. And I'm like, where's the sketch? I want to modify it. And it's
and I know what you're talking about, because I bought that radio. I think it uses basically the same chip. I bought it, in a case, everything, antenna on it, I mean, it looked like a nice little radio. It did all those things you're talking about. But there was absolutely no manual or any paperwork with it. They just throw it in a box and you get it. And I wasn't even sure how to turn the thing on, to tell you the truth. But so I finally started playing with it, but the audio quality through the little speaker was so bad, I just sent it back.
Yeah. See, you have a different purpose than I do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And hopefully you can build us into that beacon deal and make a big improvement there. You know, I've received. I mean, sometimes they do put Chinese instructions in a box, but it's written on. Have you ever noticed it's written like on a little postage stamp?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how they make it so small.
yeah.
And I have to put it under a magnifying glass or a microscope to read it, man.
Well, this one, it came with the OLED display separate, but it's like, where does it go on the board? I figured it out and then verified it with the link that Alan sent me. That link pretty much is, for all of those boards. It handles all of the 47 3X chips.
Well, I have no doubt you'll make it work really well, and you'll have a lot of fun with it because you can get in there and make changes and make it do what you want to do. And,
Yeah, it'd be nice if I had the original sketch that it comes with. But
Yeah, there are a couple of videos out there. I can point to, I think, a GitHub where you can actually download the original sketch. So you might be able to get it
I
from
think
there.
I found that. Yeah.
Okay. But and it doesn't look as straightforward to update the firmware. So I haven't done anything with updating mine yet because I know one of the firmware updates makes the frequency readout display twice as large, and then also corrects some problems apparently with the AGC control. When you toggle it off and then back on again, it doesn't come back on, or some kind of screwy thing. That the firmware update supposedly fixes some of that, but like I said, I haven't gone down that far yet to even play with it. I'm still running whatever version it came with, like 0.5 or something like that. So, but I guess there's just a handful of guys that are writing the code for it. But the library's out there, and maybe you could write your own control software for it using the library. It'd be better than what's out there.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Mhm.
I bookmarked it and I can't find my bookmark. Ha ha.
Yeah, I think it was a Facebook group that I sent you there.
Yeah. But apparently,
Oh, Charlie says that his bricks with the spark of the heater thermostat kicks in. So
yeah,
he
well,
doesn't like little spikes and I don't know if that's coming through RF or through the power, but
yeah, well, Charlie, it's going to be summertime there pretty soon. You won't have to worry about that unless your air conditioner kicks on, and it does the same thing. So keep us posted here. Guys, we're not going to be able to do the open up the phone lines or the Zoom for our viewers tonight, just because I haven't mastered it yet. The new program we're using, I was able to get Zoom working in. I did have it incorporated into this program, and I also had the phone lines incorporated in here by using a little product called Sound Meter, MEETER, Sound Meter Banana, and it's like a nice audio mixer with sliders and everything for all the multiple inputs. And I was able to get our phone system and Zoom working on the same laptop with this program. And I had it where it was working where people could call in, and you guys on the show could talk back and forth and hear each other. But when I came on there, I had an echo. So, I was getting, some loop back, and I had trouble trying to resolve that. So I just quit for now. We'll see if we can get that done. Our goal for using this particular webcast software here is not to do a regular show with it, but to use it for things like maybe a hamfest. This would be perfect for a hamfest, where we take you to a hamfest. We don't have remote people coming in. I can have up to 6 remote people total, like you see right now, and we could easily bring in, multiple iPhones or Droid phone cameras and walk around, and they would be on the show just like Glen or Alan here. So it's got some good possibilities. It's making it possible to do the show from here tonight, whereas normally I couldn't bring in guests, even the other co-host tonight, if I wasn't doing this.
yeah, the only thing I wish it had was it doesn't give you the green screen or virtual background capability. So,
well, it's going to, Alan. It's going to. I have green screen capability here.
Okay.
Although I didn't bring a green screen with me. I have requested that they add green screen for the remote people, and they're building that in. They said that you should have green screen capability real soon on for your end.
Yeah, actually, the virtual background would probably be better because I don't have a green screen.
Yeah.
I might move my camera around so that you can get that shot, and I'll go sit in front of it that way. But that's not where I am in the room here. So.
So hopefully, those kind of things coming will, continuously make some improvements, and we'll learn how it's going to work out for us. Hey, let me just real quick make a announcement out there again. We're midway into the show. If you're out there listening on shortwave, you're listening to Amateur Radio Roundtable. It's a show about ham radio. And we've got some great people on here from around the country. We're talking about a lot of different things going on tonight. Send us an email to tom@w5kub.com and let us know where you are and if you're hearing the station. And we'll get you a QSL card out there if you're listening on WBCQ on 7490. You can actually tune in and watch this program live on Tuesday nights at 0100. Okay, I got to correct myself. 0100 is Wednesday, because we went past midnight. So 0100 Wednesdays, you can watch the show if you go to w5kub.com, or you can find us on YouTube. Same thing. So for all you non-UTC people, or we used to call it Greenwich Mean Time back in the olden days, we are on at our live video show is on at 9 p.m. Eastern time, 9 p.m. Eastern time every Tuesday. That's 0100 UTC time on Wednesday mornings for those people that are out there in the international field. All right. Oh, hey, hit the subscribe button. I forgot to tell you this, or I asked you to do this for us at the beginning of the show. Please hit the subscribe button. We really need that. That helps us to get our show ranked a little bit higher, and it helps us advertise it. So please hit the subscribe button if you will. And speaking of UTC, when does the time change? Anybody know when the time changes again? Or is it already changed?
October, November.
It's October, the end of October, I think, right?
October, yeah. Let's see. Next month it's going to change. So we'll be going from 5 hours UTC ahead to 6 hours. And the show will then be
November 7th, according to John in the chat, is when we change.
Yeah, the show will then be November 7th. That's coming up pretty quick. All right. Well, hey, okay, we got a few minutes here. You guys got anything here? I'm going to go back and look at some of the pictures that I had lined up for tonight. And in the meantime, do you have anything you want to talk about?
No, it's funny. Just a little bit of ham operating note here. My kind of progression through ham radio, I started as a novice back in 1980 or so and did a lot of CW then. Dropped out of the hobby for a while, came back in, and got proficient enough in CW to get up to an advanced class license. And then kind of mainly was a single sidebander for a long time up until a couple of years ago. A friend of mine kind of got me back into CW again. So I'm doing a bit more of that. And I noticed something the other day. It's a whole long story to lead up to a short little thing. But I noticed something the other day. I still keep a paper logbook. And I just put an entry in on my paper logbook, the last entry on that page. And that was the first time in years that an entire page of my logbook was all just CW contacts. I don't remember the last time that happened. So
I've kept a lot of my old stuff. Of course, a lot of it's disappeared, but I did find a couple of my old logs from back 1970 and in the early 60s. And it was interesting looking back at it. In fact, I met some friends up at Dayton many years, 20 years ago, maybe longer than that. One of the IOOK. That's the International Order of the Crazies. One of the guys was Hoss, and he was from Texas. And I met him and talked with him, every year, and we'd go up there. And I found a logbook, 1969. I found a logbook, and I saw in there that I used to talk to him a number of times. He lived in Oklahoma City, and didn't even know that. 30 years later, 40 years later, here I am. I'm friends with the guy, and I didn't know I had talked to him. So that was real interesting. I don't know what happened to Glenn. I don't know if he just dropped off or
Oh, I don't know.
if he'll be back.
Yeah, I had a chat a couple days ago with a fella in North Carolina in a little town called Roanoke Rapids. And probably nobody's ever heard of Roanoke Rapids, but I'm really familiar with it because growing up as a kid, my mom's brother had a cabin on Lake Gaston in North Carolina, which is kind of on the border of Virginia and North Carolina, a little bit west of where Interstate 95 cuts over. And when you take the Roanoke Rapids exit off the I-95, from that point you're about 15 miles from where his place was on the lake. So Roanoke Rapids was the big town that you went to do all your shopping when you lived on the lake, like my uncle did. So we used to call it Double R City. It wasn't a very big place, but just the fact that I ran into somebody who was actually in Roanoke Rapids was kind of fun because, so we spent about a week there every summer as a kid, and so just kind of reminiscing a bit. Fortunately, my uncle passed about 9 years ago and wound up selling the property, as part of the estate down there. So really miss going down to that lake, but that was just kind of a nice coincidence to run into somebody from down there too. So.
All right, we're getting some requests here. They'd like to see some videos of us testing and playing with things. Well, we'll have to do some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to, do something, because I think I did something. I remember I did something with like one of the nano VNAs here on my table. I forget exactly what we had done, but we had done something live with that, and we'll think about some more things we can do that way, either from here or down on my workbench downstairs, and do some things live that way. So it might be kind of fun.
Yeah, I did have a couple of videos I had lined up tonight. They're about 5 or 6 minutes each. In case we needed to show them to fill the show. I'm a little concerned that the audio didn't go through well on the other videos. But
what I'd like to try as a test, if you don't mind, that I didn't mute my microphone when I played the video, and I don't know if that was causing issues. I don't know if I've got another short little video. We had talked about tuners and stuff like that. I've got another short little video that I could show.
Okay.
Actually, and just,
I like tuners. Also, let's do one thing. Do you have an adjustment for keep the audio level or automatic volume level or something there?